I just passed the 100-hour milestone of printing with my Bambu Labs P2S printer, and I've taken some notes and wanted to sort of share the good, the bad, and just some general thoughts along the way. And there's not really a lot of bad, just a couple like minor things that have happened, but it's been the best. So the excitement that I had in my initial unboxing video, I was like, let me use the printer for a while, let's go through it, let's let that honeymoon phase wear off, and it did not. This is the best. I got my first 3D printer in 2016, and I have not been this excited about 3D printing basically since then, since discovering it when it seemed like magic. This printer is so good. So if you're thinking of getting it, get it. End of video. But if you want a little more subtlety, or maybe you just got one yourself and you want to kind of follow my journey of learning the Bambu ecosystem, which in some ways is kind of like relearning 3D printing, here are some of my thoughts and my experiences. I've been using the printer for a ton of different projects. My biggest one so far has been reorganizing a lot of my camera and gear drawers using the Gridfinity system, which is not only super satisfying because things look great, but being able, when you have limited space like this, to take, 2 drawers worth of stuff and condense it into a single drawer with room to spare. That is something I couldn't have done otherwise, because everything is so neat. Bespoke, I think is the word, unless I misspoke about bespoke. But things like that, where you can customize solutions to your specific needs, that to me is one of the best parts of 3D printing. And of course, I've also just printed some fun and goofy things and experimented with different types of filaments, and everything has just been overall absolutely fantastic. So my top note right here just says so much fun, because it really is. This is the first thing I turn on in the morning, and as much as I can, I just try to have it keep running. If it's daylight, I'm burning daylight and I'm not running something on the printer, I feel like I'm wasting time. Like, I wish I could be printing right now, but it would be too loud for me to be standing right next to. And a big reason for that is because with this printer, this is the first time, as much as I've enjoyed my other 3D printers in the past, this is the first time that I have spent more time printing than tinkering. In the past, if I've needed to print something, even if it's relatively simple, I've sort of accounted for tinker time. Like, I'm going to need to set things up, I'm going to need to double check something or adjust something or troubleshoot something before I can do the simple print. And that just isn't really something that exists with this printer. I just turn it on and it works. And if it has any issues, it just tells me, and then I can just take care of it really quickly. Just to not keep you in suspense, the issues I've had, super duper minor and really more of a learning curve thing than anything. So first off, the AMS. This is the AMS 2 Pro, I think, right? If you're debating, like, I probably don't need that, get this. This is amazing. And I can't even say enough good things about the AMS. It is awesome. So over here on the far side, there's a cyan spool. I finished one and I had a second cyan spool, so I put that in, was printing something, and then I got an error that said AMS motor overload. And it popped up on my phone, which was super cool. The printer paused the print, and that sounded serious. So I reloaded the filament, said everything was okay, printed a little bit, had the same problem again. So I went to Google, I went to YouTube, couldn't really find any clear answers on what that meant, because it could be anything from problem with the filament to your motor breaking or something wrong with the AMS. And I was getting pretty worried because I'd had this running for, at that time, probably 50 hours. And I was like, oh, if something is defective, this might be the time where it's starting to break down and show those things. So am I gonna have to deal with a busted AMS or something? And it's crazy because the whole time I had that error, it had popped up a QR code on the screen. And I am so used to customer support being terrible or non-existent that just scanning the QR code was my last resort. When I couldn't find any YouTube videos or whatever to solve my problem, I scanned the QR code and it instantly gave me the info I need. The support and the documentation for this thing is just second to none. And it was super simple. It explained different things that might cause that, including tangled filament. And for some reason, this is a Bambu spool over there, and it just seems like from the factory it was tangled, and so the motor was pulling, but it couldn't really pull the filament because it got tangled. So I had to kind of unspool it and redo it a bit, and it's been fine since. But I've also then been extra careful, even more so than in the past, when I'm not using a roll, to make sure to loop the end of the filament through the thing here, basically never letting the end get loose, where it could kind of go under itself and get tangled. So it barely qualifies as an issue. You could probably just say it's a lower quality spool that I got, which is a little bit of a bummer. And there was a bit of troubleshooting, but if I just follow the actual printer's diagnostics, it solved the problem really, really quickly. The other issue is I do still have rubbing with that top tube on the glass. A lot of people have recommended just printing a riser, so that's probably what I'll do. I'll rise to that occasion. I've just noticed that a lot of the existing risers where basically you can print something that helps lift this glass part up, and then there's plenty of space for that tube. A lot of them are designed for the P1S, and they're designed to have like LED lights, but as you can see, this is really bright. This is a little light I added down here just so it wasn't dark on camera, but everything above the bed is very, very bright, so I don't need additional LED lights in here. I don't want that. But I want something that's just gonna raise it a little bit, but be plenty strong to support the AMS, support the weight, you know, the printer jiggles. It's not gonna like mess anything up or put the tempered glass at risk or anything, because sometimes that can be a little bit delicate. So that, again, don't know if that's a huge issue, but I wish that tube wasn't rubbing on the top, and it is. And then I've also had a couple of issues, let me show you. I've had a few issues, very minor bed adhesion issues, especially when printing things like this. This is a Gridfinity base plate that's basically the size of the build plate. So this is a maximum size, 6 squares by 6 squares. And when I've had something like this that needs to go across the whole bed, sometimes I will have adhesion issues just kind of throughout different spots. I haven't had a print totally fail, but I have restarted a couple of them. And so what I did, once again, I just followed the instructions, and I tried to be good about washing the build plate with just soap and water and then wiping it down with a paper towel, and then everything is fine. I always try to be careful not to just, you know, put my hands all over the build plate and then get oils on there. But I guess it's just something, especially if you're doing big prints like this, being able to keep that super clean is going to help them adhere to the build plate, and then they've been fine ever since. But the quality of these prints is just, it's crazy. It's the least 3D printing looking 3D prints that I've ever seen. And those are really the closest things to issues I've had with the printer. Like, that's as bad as it's gotten so far, knock on wood. Please don't jinx this. But that's really, really good. I do have a couple complaints with the software that I'm gonna get to in a second, but a few other things to kind of point out real quick, especially as we're doing this. The spools, I have gotten a few of these refills, which are awesome because it's cheaper to buy this without the spool, and then I don't feel like a fool for having all these extra spools or throwing them away or trying to recycle. You know, you feel bad when you're just sort of wasting all of this stuff when you run through a roll of filament and you just have the spool. I really love the replaceable spool option, where I know you can 3D print your own if you wanted to, but you just take these apart, you can take out the cardboard like inner tube from your old spool, and then you just pop on a new one. The ones from Bambu have RFID tags on them. I don't have a spool for this, otherwise I would show you on camera, but when I will put this on a spool, what you have to do is it just sits in really easily. It has these bands holding it in. Do not release those. Put it on the spool, close it together, and then you can undo these and it'll be good. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with like a big, giant, unusable slinky of filament, and you don't want that to happen. And that is just something really cool, because I love being able to reuse the different spools. I love being able to just order filament for cheaper, and it also comes in smaller packaging because it doesn't need to have this much. So it's like, if you're in the Bambu ecosystem and you like using their filament, I think that's a great way to do it. And I love the RFID tags that just tell the printer exactly what I'm using. And then another thing that I've not heard anybody talk about, I didn't know this was a thing, is that Bambu has in their app totally free courses, like beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses, which are incredibly helpful, not just for learning the ins and outs of the printer that you have, but also learning more about 3D printing. And I don't care that I started 3D printing 9 years ago. I absolutely went back to lesson 1 of the beginner course to just start from scratch. And they're really well done courses, super easy to understand, really helpful. They're not like company propaganda or anything, like just teaching you about 3D printing and teaching you about the tools that you specifically have for 3D printing. And I feel like if you have one of their printers, it's worth it. If you're just even a little bit at the end of the day, you're just on the couch kind of scrolling through your phone, going through a couple of lessons here or there, I think it's a very beneficial thing to do. And a lot of issues that people run into, or a lot of things that they have to troubleshoot, can be circumvented by just gaining a little bit of knowledge. And it does tie into then the apps, where's my phone? That would be the mobile app, the Bambu Handy app, and then the desktop app, Bambu Studio. Overall, those are absolutely great apps. And they've been really fun to use, to find models, to slice things, print things, import my own stuff and get it all set up. It's just like, again, easy. I spend more of my time thinking about what I want to print, designing what I want to print, putting things together, and then sending it to the printer than trying to do all this tinkering and figuring out, like troubleshooting over and over and over again. It's just really fantastic. And if you want to mix in stuff, like I've been doing a little bit with TPU, which I've never used before, if you want to mix in different materials, it's so easy, especially with the AMS. It knows what filament you have. So when you're preparing the model, you can just select that filament, and then when you slice it, it builds in all the temperature changes, all the filament changes that you need, and it makes it just really easy. If you're doing something as simple as just switching colors, or if you're doing something much more complex like switching materials, you can even set it so like you have different models on the build plate, and say you want this to be like in TPU or ABS or whatever, it could print this model, and then it'll go over here and do this multicolor PLA part of it from scratch. I've never gotten a printer to like do one part and then go do another part. It just makes life easy. An issue with the apps. Now, I have been using the apps on my phone and my Windows PC over here and my MacBook. So I've been trying different operating systems, different devices. The printer's handled everything I've sent to it just fine. If I start a print on my phone and I want to view it on the PC, like look at the webcam on the PC, it's awesome. Where I do have an issue is there's some basic functionality that I'm confused is missing. And it pretty much is all related to reprinting stuff you've already printed. So on the phone, you can go in and go to your print history, find a model and reprint it. On the desktop app, you can go through, find what you've printed, and then you just know what you printed. So there's no way on the desktop app that I'm aware of to just click print again if you want to reprint something. But you can do that on the phone. And what you can't do on either of them is open up the model that you printed. So on the phone even, you can reprint, but that's it. You can't go in and make any adjustments. If it's multi-part, you can't like go in and delete a part, you can't rearrange the build plate, change the filament colors or anything. You just have that one like completed sliced file. If you want to reproduce that exactly, you can. So I've been doing like the Gridfinity stuff. Sometimes I'll have a plate that has, 2 of one bin and 2 of another bin on it, and I'll print that. And I'll need to do another print that's only 2 of the one bin, and there's no easy way, at least that I know of, maybe there is and you could tell me and I would really appreciate that. There's no easy way to just like open it up, delete the things I don't need, and then print it again from there. And I feel like it's right there. Like that capability should be there. It should be a lot easier. And for sure, you should definitely be able to use the desktop app to just do easy reprints. You print something, you can do it on the printer. You can do print again and it'll run through the print again. You can do it on the phone. You can't do it on the desktop app. I even looked it up a bit and found other people asking how to do it, but no clear solution on just how to reprint. And that seems like such a basic missing feature to me. And otherwise, I haven't done any like crazy mods or anything. I did do the poop shoot that I mentioned in my initial video. Let me see if I can grab that over here. It's filling up with some poops in here. I would honestly recommend for printing a poop shoot to print a simple one like this, because I have had 0 pieces fall out or get jammed or whatever. There's a lot of really cool ones that can like wrap around the printer, and they have magnetic bins and all this stuff, and it seems super fun. If you want to do that for the fun of it, 100% you should. But it seems like every time I read about one of those models or watch a review of someone who built one, they always have issues with things getting jammed, like the little bits kind of get stuck and then it creates like a roadblock. This, it's just a bin. And so everything just goes in there and then you just dump it out and you're good to go. And I have not had a single piece miss this and land on the floor behind the table that the printer's on or anything. It might not be as fun, but if you just want, again, stress-free printing where you can spend more of your time printing rather than tinkering, a simple poop catcher, poop shoot, definitely the way to go. Wouldn't that be a toilet? Because the printer makes and then the thing it catches anyway. And if you were wondering, the coffee table that I bought to support this isn't on this table most of the time, has worked great. The printer itself, when you're doing some prints, it can really start wobbling, but the rubber feet and kind of like the suspension feet really do make a difference. Even the table it's on sometimes, despite the fact it's sturdy, will wobble a bit, but it has been zero issue. Like, that table is more than strong enough to support the printer, and the printer itself, even if it's wobbling while printing, it has never negatively affected any of the prints or anything like that. That's been my experience. It has been fantastic. If you're thinking about getting this printer, I 100% recommend it, and I definitely encourage you to get the AMS as well. On my first video about this printer, a number of people were bringing up the P1S, and I even had a few people say, like, I just got one, but it's just the old P1S, unfortunately. And it's like, the P1S is still an amazing printer. I don't have it, I haven't used it. My brother-in-law has one, and a couple other friends have one as well. The print quality and the print capability of the P1S is exactly the same. There are, again, this is the only one I've used, so it's the only one I can speak to, but the quality of life features like the touchscreen, I think the improved hot end, the improved camera, just some upgraded components within. To me, those are really nice quality of life. Even going in here and being able to easily clean out anything that falls on the bottom because there's no lip here. Super nice. So if you have the budget for the P2S, I 100% recommend it. It's worth every penny. I paid full price for mine, and I'm super glad that I did. But if it's not within your budget, or you just got the P1S before this came out or something, you still have an amazing 3D printer, and pretty much like everything that I talked about why I love this printer still applies to that as well. So for me, this is a fantastic printer. This specific one is the perfect printer for me, best 3D printer in the world for me, for sure. But for me, it's also the Bambu ecosystem. So that would apply to any of their printers that you get, the fact that they do focus on ease of use. I saw somebody just yesterday posted a thing where they got this really awesome new Prusa printer. And again, I love Prusa printers, but their post was, I just spent the past 2 days putting this together. Look at it, isn't it awesome? This is a 10-minute assembly. There's just, for the normal person, especially who wants to dive into 3D printing, for someone who wants to spend more time printing than tinkering, these printers are just so cool and absolutely the way to go. So that's been my experience with my first 101 hours, which I'm gonna add more to that odometer today, don't you worry. I'd love to know your experience. I appreciate everyone who sent the nice, like, welcome to the Bambu family comments on the last thing. That was super nice. And if there's something I'm missing or something, if you have info that would be helpful to me 100 hours into this, I would really love to hear it.